with 600, 800 to go, apparently I just decided to not let myself get in a good position. And so if I could rerun the race, would probably wanted to put myself in a better position to strike. And I think when someone believes in you like that, it's easy for you to start believing in yourself like that. And having that core group of people that just really had big goals, had big dreams, and just was willing to work really hard to get there has been great. And then just to continue it to now, I think is just like, it makes it even more special. The hardest part, and my college coach actually talked about this, is when you're kind of like back at maybe 90%, you're running, you're like doing the workouts, but like, and it looks like you're kind of back, but like inside, like, you're not fully there yet.
I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Possible, always with the brother with the same mother, Aaron Potts, Super Hot Potts, and you're watching and listening to your favorite two black runners every single Two Black
Hey, that was one of my best right there.
No, I mean, that might be the best intro I've ever heard. I mean, that was next level.
Hey, we're not finished though. Joshua, drop the accolades. Let them know.
Wait, before we get there though, I gotta make sure that everybody that's listening, before we get these accolades, like, bro, we're almost to 10K subscribers on YouTube. Like, let me put that out there right now. Y'all need to subscribe, share this with your friends, share this with everybody, because like, look at Aaron's, he's literally risking his vocal cords every single Tuesday for y'all. Like, I don't know, like, just how Adele be out there having to get surgery with vocal, like, Aaron's gonna have to get that pretty much soon. And it may not all be worth it if we don't get to 10,000 subscribers. So share this with somebody and like, let's get this up and up, because we're getting great guests, fire guests, the dude that we got on right now. Y'all know him, man. Third place at the 2022 U.S. 10,000 meter championships, but it really didn't just start there. This man was a phenom in Virginia, bro, when he was out there killing it in high school. Then he went off to Stanford, multiple time All-American in the NCAA in cross country and track, even a 2018 NCAA 5,000 meter champion. He's the 10th fastest American all time in the 10,000, and he's really going up and up and up. We got Sean McGorty on the podcast with two black runners of Bowerman Track Club. Sean, how's it going?
I'm doing well. I'm telling you what, after that intro, I'm 100% hitting the subscribe button. So I hope everyone else does too. Gets you guys to 10K. I'm doing well. Great to talk to you guys. It was great to officially meet you guys in that mix zone after the race. And yeah, stoked to be on.
Yeah, man. It's always great we've had a decent amount of Bowerman athletes on. Like, one of our first ones was, we had Marielle. We had,
she's so great.
That was one of the best ones. And then Mo was the funniest, because he just straight up hit us up like, you want me to be on the podcast? We're like, of course, let's go. But your team is such good camaraderie, and I always feel like everyone on Bowerman is so nice to the media and just talking to people.
Yeah, I mean, I think really fortunate to have a great group. I mean, on the topic of Mo, just popped off at 12:55 in Rome in the Diamond League, ended up getting fifth. So that was a pretty good race for him. So the boys are rolling. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic group. Bummed that Marielle isn't on the team anymore, but really enjoyed my time with her when she was on the team. And yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, really lucky to be surrounded by everyone that's on the team. And yeah, I think thankfully everyone likes talking to the media when we get the opportunity.
And I think what's really been fortunate for us is that since we're in Southern California, we've been able to see you guys a lot over the past 2 years, especially at the 10 and all the sound running meets and everything has been a pleasure. And I felt like I'm all like, man, I need to get me a Bowerman shirt or a Bowerman crew neck or something. Like, I need to make that happen ASAP. And I feel like me and Aaron felt even more a part of the Bowerman team and just even the McGorty family household when we were at the pre-classic and like sitting next to your family as we're doing the Instagram stories and just like seeing the reaction to your mom, your dad, your grandfather, your grandmother, like everybody around just reacting to what was a nail-biting performance all the way to the last 100. really for you. It was incredible to really just be a part of that. Like, I don't mean have a question to go with that. I just have to say that, like, like it was amazing to be in that section and to see that happen for you.
I'm sure you got a lot of raw emotion. I mean, I think across, my parents and grandparents, there's a lot of energy and excitement there. And I'm sure, especially in that moment. But yeah, I mean, I think it started last year at the trials was the first year we did it in the Bowerman Fan Section. I mean, it's so like unique to be able to walk into a stadium at the biggest meet of the year, leading up until the biggest meet of the year, at least the biggest meet on US soil, like at the time, and just to have like a whole section dedicated to just supporting you and cheering you on and seeing all like these familiar faces. It's really unique and it's really special. So I love that Bowerman was doing it, and I love that you guys got to be a part of it too.
Yeah, it was fun. I had the thunder. The thunder
yeah,
things,
the thunder sticks, yeah.
Yeah, I had the thunder sticks, clapping those. I was sitting with Carissa's like team and like family at some point too, and it was like, man, like I really felt accepted into the Bowerman group, And I remember like after Carissa's race, and this is before I knew this was your mom. I just knew that was like your family or whatever.
Yeah, you went up to that.
Yeah, I looked back and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back for Sean's race." And they felt like so appreciative too. So they were like, "Oh shoot, like we gotta get back." And that definitely was those 10Ks. Those are some of the most exciting races that day, even of all of pre. I think it was really talking. But what about for you? Was it weird that we were having like the 10K before USA so far ahead of it?
Jerry had kind of mentioned beforehand that, I think maybe USATF was thinking about it. We knew there was like a chance. We'd heard just a few rumors, and obviously when it was announced, we knew it's what we were training for. But man, when we were walking around Eugene, like the day before the race, it's like the end of May, pre-classics going on. It just felt weird. It was like we hadn't raced since March. It's like just mentally, like you knew you were preparing for, a huge race, but just the atmosphere, it didn't fully feel like a USA's. And I think maybe it's just because it was like the first time, but obviously once you're warming up and everything, you get locked in. But definitely the buildup felt a little unique. Whether that was good or bad, don't really know. It'll be interesting to just see how like USA's feels later in June. I'm sure that'll just feel like there's a little more like buzz or pressure, but yeah, it was definitely unique. And so it'll be interesting, like if they continue to do this, for future years, will it continue to feel like that, or will you just get more used to it and it'll be kind of like part of the routine?
Yeah, I kind of liked it because it definitely like centers around the 10K, and like everyone knows like this is the championship. Pay attention for these 30 minutes because everybody don't want to pay attention for. Since I've been going to the 10 and everything, I've gained so much more appreciation for the 10K and just like seeing it run, like because like I can never do that for 6.2 miles. Just sounds crazy on the track, but to do it that fast is even crazier. But I want to ask too for your race, like you said, it felt kind of weird, but it all worked out in your favor at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But just the race and totally, like, do you feel like, was it a good race from you? Like looking back on it, do you think there could have been a lot of things that you could have fixed and just going forward?
I don't think it was a perfect race. Like you said, thankfully things worked out in my favor. I think, going into it, when we were talking with our coach, he had kind of wanted us to sit back and kind of wait until the last 400-ish of the race. That was kind of the race plan for everyone on the team. I think you could kind of tell, like Grant never really made any big moves to push from the front or anything like that, like he had in some of his previous races. But I think like in hindsight, when we were talking to our coach, he thought it was going to be a little quicker. I think our first mile was in the 450s, and that was just a little pedestrian at that point. And, we had a little cat and mouse, and I just don't think it strung out as much as he was expecting. I think pretty much everyone was still there with 800, 400 to go. Mm-hmm. And I think I had spent the first 23 laps trying to always keep myself in decent position, make sure I had room for my stride. And then with 600, 800 to go, apparently I just decided to not let myself get in a good position. And so if I could rerun the race, would probably have wanted to put myself in a better position to strike, or maybe try and be up there with Grant and Joe heading into 400 to go. Jerry joked that I raced like a rookie. So, which I did say was my second 10K. So I tried to give myself a little benefit of the doubt there. But yeah, I think just tactically the last 800 wasn't super great. But I think, it was a good experience of, with 300 go, having to keep yourself calm and relaxed and kind of just trusting that a gap's going to open up. And then with 120 to go, just giving it all you got. So I think from a mental standpoint, happy with how I was able to execute over the last 400, but definitely from a tactical standpoint, would have liked to have been in a better position.
Yeah, Moms wasn't happy that you were boxed in.
Oh, I know. As soon as I finished, I looked over and I was like, they must be so stressed right now, or they had to be so stressed. And my girlfriend, Elise, she's on the team. And she had talked to me like before the race, and she was just like asking me like, please don't make it stressful. Like, whether just like pressing early on or just like doing different things. And like, I talked to her as we were like doing the little victory lap, because my mom was able to call her while we were in the Bowerman section. And she said the same thing. Like, why did you have to make that so stressful? So yeah, definitely did not make it easy on my mom. I'm sure she did not appreciate the boxing.
Do you
made it fun though? Made it fun.
Yeah.
Do you ever like, because like Elise just started the 10K too, just like in that Olympic year, she's adjusted and been doing so well at it. Do you like talk to her ever about like, well, because you only done 2.
Yeah.
Like, does it help to have her, like, she's just new to it as well, you're new to it? Does that like give you like some encouragement, or do you guys pick each other's brain about how it's adjusting from a 1500 meter runner to a 10K runner?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, just kind of going through the same thing and having each other to kind of discuss our different experiences. And I think we know each other so well that it's very easy to kind of give advice and step back and be a little more objective with that advice too. So, her experience from the 10K was great. Thankfully, I got a team full of 10K runners too. So they were all pretty helpful with advice. Because, and it was interesting. You were mentioning like you kind of liked the 10K being the focus on that Friday night. And you were saying, I mean, I agree that I don't think, everyone always wants to watch, 27 to 30 minutes of racing. Yeah. But I feel like coming to Bowerman also gave me a bigger appreciation for the 10K. Just there's a lot that goes into it that I think you don't really appreciate until you're in the moment. And I definitely have more of appreciation for that now after having run it. And so excited to see, the future there in that event, but definitely don't want to get too far away from the 15 and 5. I like the shorter distances are still pretty fun.
Yeah, don't we all, man?
Oh yeah.
I wanted to talk about that night too. When we got a chance to talk to you in the media zone, in the mixed zone, what was super disappointing though, that like the first half of that video just got like super corrupted and like you can barely understand, but it was such an amazing like interview. And we were kind of talking about your parents earlier. And I just wanted to know, like, was that always like their investment like into your sport, like seeing how they were like screaming, like crying? There were so many emotions like the last 800 meters of that race, but it hasn't always been like that where they've been so invested to whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been incredibly fortunate and blessed to have parents and grandparents that have been supportive of just whatever sport I've been doing. Athletically, they've always done the best they can to get to all of our games growing up. But yeah, especially with track, I feel like, I mean, my parents have a big appreciation for it. They ran collegiately at the University of Chapel Hill in North Carolina. And then my dad competed post-collegiately a little as a decathlete. So while it is not his main event, he's definitely fallen in love with the distance events. I think he's learned to appreciate them. But yeah, I mean, just the energy and love and support has always been there. And that's something I can always count on. So yeah, incredibly fortunate to have that.
One thing, Sean, I remember like the first time I ever seen you, because I think I graduated high school in 2012.
Oh yeah,
I believe. Were you 2013 or 2012?
2013.
So yeah, so I hear about Sean, like you're doing like you're a beast and everything, and then I seen you at like a Stanford invite, and I was like, this dude is freaking tall. Like I did not expect you to be as tall as you were. And I'm guessing you get that from your dad because he was at the cafe.
I think, but I mean, I think it's my dad's dad was like 6'2" or 6'3", but I mean, I'm like not even the tallest in my family. My youngest brother, Brandon, he's just graduating at Stanford this weekend. He's like 6'6" probably.
Nice.
And so, yeah, he calls me his little brother, which I don't always appreciate, but yeah, so I'm assuming kind of get it from him. I don't think my mom's like overly tall. But yeah, myself, Brandon, and then my middle brother, Ryan, we're all actually taller than my dad. So we've all successfully surpassed him.
And this is a random question. Since your parents did go to UNC, like, are they big basketball fans, like, too?
Oh, I live and breathe UNC. I mean, especially like this year with UNC making it to the finals, everyone on the Bowerman team was giving me a hard time because they're like, you didn't go to UNC. Why are you supporting them? And why do you care? But yeah, grew up watching Carolina basketball. I think they started going to UNC. I think maybe it was Michael Jordan's like last year while he was at UNC. So they got to see him play. And then one of my dad's brothers, one of my uncles also went to UNC. So yeah, like, I mean, growing up, I always thought I was going to go to UNC. I thought I was going to play soccer there and that was going to be my future. So it ended up, not playing out that way, but yeah, live and breathe Carolina basketball. So yeah.
What about when Virginia was like Virginia is always good, but like the Cavaliers, they were like did they win the final?
I think they won like a few years ago. Never really been a UVA sports fan. I visited, it was one of the schools I looked at to potentially go to, but I just, in my area growing up, I mean, it was always VT versus UVA. Never really had like a strong, stake in the game, but we had some close family friends who love Virginia Tech, so whenever UNC was playing them in basketball, that provided some good smack talk. And thankfully UNC usually did well on the basketball court because they loved rubbing the football success in. So yeah, it was a good ACC. Just sports in general provides some great entertainment.
No, facts. So that was my little derail of just talking real quick, but I want to get back to, you talked about going to play soccer. That was the dream. Like, when did you start really running and start doing track and field?
So it sort of started around the same time, just having parents with a background in track and field. As I was playing soccer, I think like from 4th grade to 6th grade, in the summer, my dad would kind of take my brothers and I to the junior Olympic meets that would go on. I ran would do like the 1500, 800, high jump, and javelin. I think at that point, though, it was like turbo jab. Yeah, I know. I love the high jump. But
you're doing the pentathlon?
Basically. That kind of stopped after elementary school, and it was kind of all soccer, basketball in the winter, and then I would swim in the summers. But we'd do we'd always do like a Thanksgiving turkey trot, or I think like in middle school, my middle school put on like a few 5Ks and I did it. And my grandfather likes to say that after my 5K in 8th grade, like he knew that I should do cross country. And so I officially did cross country that fall. My first year of high school, that was kind of when I started to go like all in. I guess before that, just hopping back a few years, my dad and one of our other close family friends kind of put on like the youth track team, I guess, in the spring. And so it'd be like every Sunday. I'd usually come after like soccer games and just kind of practice there. But that was like the first intro. But yeah, nothing really serious, I would say, until or full time until high school cross country freshman year.
And going into like high school, like your freshman year, did you have like big goals? Like coming from, we both ran club track as well, so it was like definitely get the scholarship, but you kind of know how to like push yourself. And our parents are similar. Like our dad was like our coach growing up, so he's involved on the booster club. He's coaching on the side a little bit too,
yelling at you like, bro, come on, like chill, bro. Like you don't need to
exactly.
Like, when's your practice at? Like, bro, you don't need to come to practice. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, well, in high school, he was not officially my coach. So, and I think at that point, still like he didn't fully know a ton about distance running, I would say. I feel like by my senior year, he was learning way more and definitely knew more when my two younger brothers were coming up through high school. But I mean, my mom honestly was the kind of the inspo or just kind of the person I could go to for cross country, because she was a Virginia State champion in cross country. She ran at Langley High School, which was like 25 minutes away from the high school I went to in Chantilly. So she had some great success there in high school, and could definitely pick her brain about cross country. But thankfully, I had some really great teammates when I started out. And I feel like my goal was just, you want to run with the best on your team, and then you just kind of gradually build up from there. You want to just compete well in the conference and then regional. And then I was pretty like into setting goals and started doing that, I'd say probably my sophomore year, and just kind of use that as like a metric to keep building forward.
Yeah, then I definitely want to talk about one part of your high school career when we get to the end of the podcast. But before we get there, kind of fast forwarding a little bit, like you do your thing, go to Stanford, success there. Like, I think a lot of people know like what you did at Stanford. You and Grant, y'all were killing it, and everything that you guys did. But then now moving on to Bowerman, you even spoke on it just a little bit. Like in high school, you had a great team and that pushed you. Now you're on the Bowerman. And 2018, you joined there. You have a great team around you, and I assume they pushed you. Just how's it been to be getting that constant like support from like Bowerman Track Club? Because I really feel like since the time we've been going to the 10 and just all those meets, at the sound running meets, like especially like talking to like Grant, he would like say that like Mo and them, they would always give him like so much support that like, bro, like you can be this next guy, like you can run this, you can run that. And I feel like a lot of the guys have always told us that in interviews. And that's how I was kind of feeling with you in the 10K. And I was telling Aaron before this, I'm like, bro, I think Sean's gonna make this team, because I think they're doing the same thing they were doing to Grant. Like Mo's telling Sean, like, bro, you can make this team, and you made it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been priceless. I think everything, all the advice, just the different encouragement. I think, that played a big role of going to Stanford, is wanting to join a team where there was people that were really successful and people that you could kind of look up to and kind of chase, that, people that were competing at the level you want to compete at. And that was definitely the case with Bowerman. And just from the very beginning, obviously you have some of the older guys who have experienced so many different things, whether it's like the highest of highs with Centro and his Olympic gold medal, or, some lows. Evans had surgeries before, other people have had different injuries. So, the full spectrum of experiences in track and field, I feel like the team is basically covered. And that has just been incredible, just to always be able to get feedback, advice. No one is really bringing their ego into everything when they're encouraging you and telling you that they think you can accomplish these things. Even in the 10K, when we have 4 guys going into it, I think every single person, wants the other 3 teammates to succeed just as bad as, they want to. And I think that's just really special. And I think, I do think it's probably a little unique, since we have moments where we have like 4 teammates competing for 3 spots and things like that people are able to be that supportive. But it's just been really great. And I think, for a lot of different things, you have to expect it of yourself, but I think sometimes it starts with the people around you expecting it of you. And I feel like, you talked about Mo with Grant and Mo with me, and I feel like I still remember the run up in Park City where Mo was like, if you stay healthy, he's like, you 100% can make the team. And I think when someone believes in you like that, it's easy for you to start believing in yourself like that. And, and then it just seeing them in the Bowerman section after the race, like, it's just, those are just some really like genuine hugs where you can just tell they're so excited for you. Even Woody, didn't have the race he was hoping for at the 10K, but just like the hug after the race, you can just tell like how excited they are for you. And I wish I could come up with a better word than priceless, but I feel like that's kind of just what it is. And, you see in college, I saw all the different accomplishments from the outside, but to be in it and to see what it's actually like has been really great.
What's your relationship with like Grant too? And do you feel like have you always had teams like that? You're talking about your high school team. You had some really good teammates. And then I'm guessing your Stanford teammates were really good too, because you and Grant went on to Bowerman together. Elise ends up joining Bowerman. I just think that's crazy that you guys you've known each other for a very long time. Like some of these guys Mo, you might not have known Mo for that long, but like Grant, you've known that guy since you were like 18, 17.
My longest teammate I was thinking about this like recently. Vanessa, she was at Stanford, same year as me. I've been teammates with her for I think 9 years now or something like that. And then like Elise is like right after that, and then Grant's right after that. And
Wow.
I mean, since Grant's like freshman year, I mean, you could just tell like how special of a guy he is. I mean, off the track and on the track, but especially on the track, you could just see like what was coming. Like everything that he accomplished this year. I mean, there's no surprise for me that he was able to do what he's been able to do so far. And I think he's just continuing to scratch the surface, and I definitely think he's going to continue to grow and accomplish some special things. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really like, I mean, it's just kind of crazy that we just met up at Stanford, and I think just both had the same dreams and same goals. And I think, when you get a lot of like-minded people together, I think that's just can help breed success. I mean, not even on the track, but on the field. One of my other teammates and really good friends at Stanford was Valerie Ullman. She won the discus at Tokyo. I mean, she's freaking dominating every Diamond League now that she goes in. So I think just like having that core group of people that just really had big goals, had big dreams, and just was willing to work really hard to get there has been great. And then just to continue it to now, I think is just like, it makes it even more special. I mean, Grant and I were rooming together at the 10K, and I think I've roomed with him and Eugene more than any other person. I can 100% tell you that, because it started with his freshman year, and we were there in the 2016 trials. So I'd say he's my go-to roomie at this point.
And you're talking about like having like similar goals and always shooting for like big things. So like going into Stanford, did you start having the goal of like trying to be like pro in track and field, or did that not start until like the end of your Stanford career?
So I feel like the goal of being a professional athlete kind of honestly started in soccer. Again, it was just fortunate based on the area I grew up, but my soccer coach from a very young age was, his name was John Harks, and he played professionally in the MLS, also played like a little bit over in England, and was also on the US national team. So I like from the very beginning had a, high level professional athlete, like very, very close in my life. And so I feel like that kind of set the standard. So I thought I was going to be a professional in soccer. I think that door is probably officially closed at this point. But yeah, just having had a dad then that also competed post collegiately, I think the idea of, competing after college was definitely always there. I'd say it's, it's kind of a goal probably more in the back of my head. Probably the bigger goals were trying to win an NCAA title and things like that in college. But it was definitely, in the back of my mind, and was always, watching the professional races, and, definitely was watching Bowerman. And I still remember my freshman year before like Peyton Jordan at Stanford. And I met with my coach, and he said, he's like, oh, like Jerry Schumacher, like asked about you. And I thought that was like the coolest thing of all time, like probably even cooler than the race that went well. So that, it was always like something there, but just maybe I wasn't thinking about it on like a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and what I think is really cool about Bowerman, and I got to interview like Evan after he raced the steeple at Mount Sac, and I was like telling him, I was like, bro, man, like you're really a part of the beginning. Like Bowerman hasn't really been around for that long, like probably like 2011, 12. And I remember Evan, leaving Wisconsin to join Jerry and the Bowerman, and then making that team in the 5K. And I'm like, now it's like how many more years does he have left? So it's like, how does it feel too? Like you, Grant, like you all are like, you're all now, you guys aren't old or nothing, but you guys are now like the team. And then
even like Mark Scott and Carissa came in like the Bowerman the same year as you too. Like you guys
it's like this new age Bowerman team. It used to be like Chris and Evan, and now it's Sean, it's Grant. Yeah, Ryan Hill, Sean, it's Grant, it's Elise. Like it's kind of crazy to see you all be like the main team, and now you're gonna start recruiting some more young athletes, and you're gonna be the veteran guy. Yeah,
I mean, I think part of it's crazy just how quickly it feels like that shift happened. Like we like joking around with, the older guys, but seeing like how many of the guys on the team are over 30 and under 30. And I think maybe it's like 50-50 right now or around that. And, I think when you're the younger crew, you know, I think you're kind of embracing the team identity and maybe culture. But I mean, to have been able to be on the team with Evan, he was just one of the guys that while I was in college, I was always watching and looking up to. And I still remember his 2016 race in Rio when he won his medal. I like remember watching it in my house back in Virginia, and just the feeling like seeing him accomplish that gave me. So we're actually rooming together up at this altitude camp. Like all the guys are in one big house, and so some of us have had to share a room just for different periods of time, and him and I are sharing together. But yeah, it is crazy. Like you said, you don't really know like how many years left some of the older guys get. So I think it just makes you appreciate being able to, you know, go on runs with them. It's just this, I mean, honestly, sometimes it's more just the normal stuff, just the hanging out, the dinners, all the different conversations. You know, Lopez has been doing this for, I think he said like 16 years or something like that. And like, I mean, it's just like, you can't even like comprehend like how long he's been able to perform at a high level. And yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think that younger core, I think we all like embrace that and definitely like embrace the idea of kind of representing the team and holding it to the same standards that all the guys before us and women have. So yeah, I think it's definitely something everyone embraces and enjoys.
Yeah, and I can imagine just like picking the brain of them, just like picking their brain, just in the normal stuff. Like probably not even just like going up to him like, Lopez, what advice should I get? But like just like you just at the grocery store, then he just drops like some wisdom or something, just like dang, like or just seeing it like in action from day to day, just like that, just how they move from that. And I bet they have to give you a lot of sport, and that wisdom had to go into you just like fighting through the injuries that you've had over the past like 3 years with Bowerman. And as I was like preparing for this a little bit, and I was like, because I remember like your Achilles, you getting the surgery. I'm all like, bro, that happened after last year, and now this dude is on the 10K team. Like that's crazy. And like even with Carissa too, like y'all were like injured, like down and out, and like came back from that. Just like how has it been like pushing through all of that over the past 3 years, just trying to get to this place?
I mean, you know, definitely hasn't been like easy. You know, each time I've had to have surgery, it's kind of been its own like unique experience. Thankfully for this Achilles surgery back in July of last year, I had the same surgery on my right Achilles in 2017, and that experience had gone well coming back from that. And I was able to see the same surgeon. So I felt really confident going into that surgery. And I think that made a huge difference because I was confident my body could come back from it and run at a level that it had never been at before. I think that has been, you know, a big piece for me is believing that my best running is still ahead of me, even after some of these different setbacks. And so I feel like, you know, hopefully I was able to help Carissa going through the similar experience. Hopefully, you know, I think she was able to help me when you're seeing her do different things that she, you know, crushed the comeback and won her first national title. And yeah, I mean, that's where also it just helps having a team that just performs at a really high level. And, you know, I can go back to Grant because in college, I feel like he played a huge role coming back from that first Achilles surgery because, you know, every day I'm showing up to practice and I'm training with one of the best in the NCAA. And now every time I show up for practice, I'm training with some of the best runners in the entire world. So the expectation and the level of training is set. And I mean, it can be grueling and frustrating when you are not there and you feel like you're battling back and like you're kind of just waiting to feel like you get a little more traction or for things just to feel like a little more easy or just like a little more natural. But, you know, the encouragement along the way and just like, even just the subtle encouragement, whether it's not really words, but you can just tell from the body language that they expect that, you know, you're going to be able to come back and things like that was super helpful. And I feel like played a huge role in, you know, how that race in May win and even just being able to get the world standards and for the 5K and 10K in February and March. Like, I feel like, you know, I definitely would not have been able to do it without all of them. And, you know, I'm incredibly grateful for that.
I was curious, what's been like consistently like the hardest thing, like trying to overcome, like coming back? Has it just been like the mental like blocks?
Yeah.
Has it been like trusting like that muscle again, or just like or just like trying to stay completely locked in? Like what has been consistently the hardest part of trying to get back?
It's a good question. All like each surgery was a little different. I'd say the 3 that I had for a foot infection in 2019, that was just kind of hard to like wrap around, like, why did this happen? Not that like the Achilles stuff, like, I mean, you could still ask like why, but I think you can understand that a little more. The foot infection felt more like a freak thing, but I think the hardest part, and my college coach actually talked about this, is when you're kind of like back at maybe 90%, you're running, you're like doing the workouts, but like, and it looks like you're kind of back, but like inside, like, you're not fully there yet. And I think that can be just pretty hard mentally because you've done a lot to get back to 90%, like all the cross training. You're talking about like the mental fatigue and all that energy that goes into like willing yourself to push through the adversity. And I think it's like right when you've kind of like, you're at the top of like one mountain, but you see like the peak of the mountain range right in front of you, and you kind of know you have one last climb and push. And I think that last part sometimes can just be the hardest because there is some fatigue and you just want to be back at 100% so bad. So yeah, I think sometimes that last like 10 to 5%, would probably be the hardest part, where you're like almost back, but just not fully there.
From going through all these injuries, do you feel like you know your body even more now? Like what type of cross training you need to do, or do you feel like, damn, I'm fragile, I might get hurt again? Like,
I think I believe my body is strong. I'm just laughing because I feel like it took me like way too long to like fully like listen to the signs that like your body gives you. Like when I was in college, I ran on the Achilles injury for way longer than I needed to. Even like the foot infection, I mean, that was a pretty like, that was a much smaller timeline, but the amount of time it took for me to like acknowledge that like, oh, this isn't a bone injury and like something's probably seriously wrong was like way longer than it should have. And I feel like I kind of saw that with this surgery. We got the ultrasound after the trials, and I knew right away I needed to get the surgery. But I feel like since coming back, I've done a better job of listening to my body and understanding like if there's certain soreness or certain signs, like it's not really a sign of weakness. Your body's just trying to let you know maybe it's just not ready for what you're doing just yet. And if you can listen to that, I think that can actually sometimes speed up your recovery, instead of just trying to go 100 like full speed, not listening to any signs. I think you could maybe re-injure yourself. But so yeah, I'd say, I mean, my dad's joked with me that this is the year I finally started to listen to my body. So I think I'm learning something. But yeah, I definitely don't think my body's fragile. I think as far as like the Haglund stuff and Achilles stuff, it's the way I was made. These legs help me run pretty fast, but there's some things that come along with it. But I think I'm finally starting to listen to my body.
That's really like a hard thing to do. Like for me, like I ran up until like 2019 and then I stopped. And now like I'll just run whenever. But like there's been multiple times where I'll be like, oh, like I'm good. I'm just gonna start like training again. Just get up to 50 or something, 50 miles, and I'll start hurting. And I'll be like, oh, I'm good. I'm just gonna keep going. And then I'm like, what the heck? Like I can't walk right no more.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard. I feel like we get like almost like addicted to the routine of it, and you just like want to see that mileage number get higher and higher. And you like, I think it's easy to tell yourself something's like not as big of a deal as possible, because I mean, a lot of like running is pain. I mean, you kind of just have to work through the pain. And I think sometimes, whether it's ego or just, I think the line can be blurred of like what is pain and what is like injury. And I think sometimes it's like acknowledging like, this doesn't mean I'm not like tough or I can't grit it out. It's just like, no, my body like is giving me a sign, like you shouldn't be running right now.
Yeah. And I think injury is like such a rude awakening to that, but like it's a lot of times it's the perfect awakening to that, just be all like, okay, now I know like what I should be doing. Like,
yeah,
I know how this works. Like it sucks though. Like you have to get smacked in the face sometimes to let you know, but like, dang, those smacks in the face help.
Yeah. Sometimes you need a few, but eventually you wake up. Yeah.
Yeah. And before we get to the end of this podcast, we got our Next Stop Oregon segment. And I'm so happy that we got somebody on here that this summer you will be one of the 2,000 of the world's best track and field athletes competing for titles at the World Athletics Championships on U.S. soil for the first time ever. So in preparation, leading up to the world stage, we are having our Next Stop Oregon segment where we focus our attention to the world stage, just everything that's going down in Eugene. It's going to be a party. It really is. But we got to ask you, Sean, we ask every athlete that comes on, what is your chance to compete at the Oregon World Championships 2022 mean to you? Is your Oregon 22, you feel like it's a comeback? You think it's a redemption story? Is it a title fence, or is it your journey to the top of the podium for the first time?
I hope, I would probably say, a comeback story. I think there's been a lot of different challenges and things that have gone into making this first team. Couldn't be more excited that the first time I get to represent the U.S. Is in front of, hopefully a crowd full of U.S. fans and on home soil. But yeah, I'd say definitely probably more of a comeback story, a celebration of overcoming adversity maybe and going all in on yourself and maybe tackling or facing some fears you had and going all in. So that's definitely what I would say. That's how I would describe my Oregon 2022 story.
Did you think it was going to be the 10K that was going to get you there though?
No, if you had told me like a few years ago or maybe even last year that the first team I would make would be a 10K, I probably would have thought you were kidding. Obviously incredibly excited to make the 10K and really excited to, I think, see where I can go in the event. But in college, it was all about the 15 and 5. And, I'd probably say definitely saw myself as a 5K runner coming out of college. And, I still think there might be a future in the steeple. But we thought that was like a chance last year. So we'll see. Kind of wanted to give the Achilles a break. But yeah, no, I would not have guessed that it would have been the 10K. So, but we'll take it.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Wait, are you gonna do the 5 at USA's, or have you decided that yet?
Yeah, we will. So I think whole crew that I think was in the 10K will be rolling back for the 5K. So really looking forward to that one. I haven't run a 5K at the US Champs actually as a pro. The last time was in 2016 while I was still in college. So definitely excited. Have watched all those races. They've always just been some great battles, especially with Chalimo and my teammates. So excited to throw myself in the mix.
Well, we're excited to be at USA's. We're excited for the World Championships. Hopefully we get into that Bowerman cheering section again when that 10K goes off. But hey, everybody, y'all need to be there too. Be part of history at Hayward Field, University of Oregon, July 15th through the 24th. Get your tickets now at worldchampsoregon22.com. It's going to be special. It's going to be hype. Can't wait for it. And before we get you out of here in the podcast, I want to talk about this. I want to bring it to high school back real quick. So I'm searching this dude up. Aaron, this dude ran 8:46 in the 32, Aaron?
Yeah, I heard about him, bro. I heard about him.
And bro, that year I went on the 30, I went to the list. You feel me? Like the top 10, everybody's Arcadia. It's like, I don't know the first dude. I think dude that was ahead of you ran 8:45. Everyone's like Arcadia from the Arcadia invite. And then you ran 8:46, number 2 in the nation. And the second guy behind you in that race when you ran 8:46 was 9:45, Aaron.
At Arcadia?
What? No, when he did it by himself. The second place guy was 9:45. What happened?
Jeez.
Wait, did you? How did that happen? I need to know this story.
I think I was invited to Arcadia, but I don't know if Penn was maybe 2 weeks before, or something like that. Basically, we didn't decide it was worth to go out in California, but Arcadia happens, and I raced, I think, the next week, and I see how fast everyone runs, and I'm feeling that energy, want to really rip a 3,200, and So the race was supposed to be on like a Friday night. It thunderstorms that night, ends up getting pushed to Saturday, which in hindsight, I'm like, that was a great thing because I think I felt better on Saturday morning. But yeah, I had my head coach at the start line. I had my assistant coach at the 200, and they were just giving me splits. Like each was giving me like a 400 split from like their like start line. And I just tried to find the rhythm and just push it and bring it home. But yeah, that was a really special race. And it's actually funny. One of my really great friends at Stanford, teammate Jack Keelan, he ran at Arcadia, and I think he ran like 850. And he told me when we were in college and teammates, he goes, "I was so mad when I saw you run 846 by yourself like the next weekend." He's like, "I was so mad." But yeah, that was a really special race in high school. But yeah, just kind of just mentally knew I wanted to try and go after it, and just put the coaches giving me splits and just tried to push it.
And that's crazy.
I always talk about high school races are legendary. Like we see all the kids running with the pros now, but like destroying everyone in a high school race, like everyone that was there is gonna remember that. They saw you run at pre, and they're like, I remember when this guy ran 846 and lapped the entire field. Like people are never gonna forget that.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think high school it's pretty unique. Not that like you don't always do this in college and pros, but I just think like the mentality is literally just like go all out, like no matter what the distance is. And I just think, obviously, especially in championship racing and stuff like that, you have, the margin of error is much smaller and tactics come into play. But yeah, high school is just, you're going all out basically just the entire time.
I wanted to ask you too, do you follow like Stanford XC in track and field right now? Because y'all are doing like on the distance and mid distance, like Charles Hicks, Cole Sprout, and then y'all got Juliet Whitaker and Rosing Willis.
Oh, they got a great incoming class. I still do. So my youngest brother, Brandon, who I mentioned earlier, he actually ran at Stanford. So we were teammates my fifth year, his freshman year. And so still follow the team. Charles and Cole ran great yesterday in that 10K, especially Charles getting a bloody nose in the middle of the race. But yeah, I mean, really excited to see what the future of that program looks like. I mean, I think the average probably PR of those two girls coming in is probably 159. Because I know, I think one of them just ran like 2 flat 03, and I know the other one broke 2 minutes at that New York meet. So they're gonna have a great 4x8. Hopefully they go to Penn Relays. But yeah, I love following along.
Also, like I've been like trying to spread this rumor around, but I think this can actually happen. That I could see, I think it'd be cool if Leo and Lex Young, the Newbury Park boys, if they went to Stanford instead of NAU, and they're like, we want to beat our brother. I really think that can happen. But if you had to if like Sean Bronson or if Leo and Lex were like, yo, why should we go to Stanford? Like, what would be your pitch? What would you tell them?
I mean, fantastic, beautiful school, fantastic school. But I mean, I think you have great weather to train at a high level consistently throughout the year. I think you're going to be joining a team with a lot of guys that are really pushing themselves to be the best in the NCAA. They're running crazy fast times. They're running faster than Grant and I were, I think, at their time in indoors, and they're really getting after it. And I think, I think it can also be fun to carve your own path sometimes, to battle up against your bro and see what you can do. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously just to add to the legacy kind of Stanford distance running, I think it would be huge if they were able to get Leo and Lex. I mean, they're already running ridiculously fast right now, so can only imagine what they'll be doing in the future.
Yeah, that would be insane, Aaron. I don't think that's gonna happen, but hey, that was a good pitch. That was a good pitch. That was a good pitch. That
pipeline really to Bowerman, pipeline to Bowerman.
That's what it does seem like, though. That's what it really does seem like. And I want to also ask you this too, because we're about to go to Portland. Actually, you're about to get on a flight, go to Portland Track Festival. We'll see you there. We're gonna be in Eugene like for 10 days coming up. So you spent some time in Oregon.
Yeah.
What's your favorite spots to eat, bro? Because we need some help. I don't know, like in Eugene or Portland.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been to Portland before. So
if you're in Eugene, I think I've like had breakfast at the original Pancake House like almost like every single day I've ever been to Eugene. So I love that spot. That's a great breakfast spot. as far as dinner, I also just kind of started while I was at Stanford. I feel like we would go to Beppe and Gianni's. It's like this Italian spot that's pretty close to Hayward Fields. That's also a favorite for sure. And then I think it might be called the Doco. I don't really know. There was one spot where after NCAA's one year, I think it was like one of the last spots open. I think it's like open to like 2 a.m., but you can get like calzones of like, I mean, they must have like 30 different types of calzones on the menu and cookies and milk. So if you ever need a late night bite, that might be the spot. As far as Portland, I love Bamboo Sushi. I love the Matador, Portland City Grill. If you want to eat dinner at like on the 30th floor of this pretty big building, it's a pretty nice one. And then a popular like, I'm trying to think of the other popular spots. Basically, like Northwest 23rd Street. That's a really popular one. But yeah, I'd say Bamboo is definitely one of my favorites.
Bamboo Sushi. You want sushi this weekend, Aaron, or what?
I do. That's the first thing I was thinking about. Portland, not too far from the water, right? Yeah.
I don't know. It's right on the water. They got great sushi.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm down for that.
And then we always
you probably got to go to Salt and Straw too. I mean, I feel like that's kind of like the classic
place.
Portland ice cream. I mean, there are like other good ice cream spots, but I feel like that's always a classic.
I think I went there. No, I'm pretty sure I did go there when I went to Portland like 5 years ago. But then also we always ask these two questions when we have someone on the podcast. Who should we have next? Because sometimes we don't know who to get. Who do you think would be a great person to come on Two Black Runners podcast, have a chat? It can be an athlete, it can be a coach, someone in media. I don't know, any person that would be good to have on.
I mean, you named, not to just throw my teammates at you, but you already said you had Mo on the podcast. He was one I was already thinking of. I know you've talked to Grant, but I don't know if he's been on the podcast. I feel like, he would be great. Lopez would be super entertaining. I mean, that man has so many stories. He's a great storyteller. Centro is the same way. He's got a gift when it comes to telling stories. But yeah, I'd say, if you could get Grant, Lopez, or Centro on, I feel like that would do well for you. I feel like they'd be a good conversation right there.
Those all sound like really funny. Centro and Lopez would be hilarious. I feel like.
Honestly, if you could I was gonna say too, especially sometimes when Mo and Lopez get going, feeding off of each other. If you had them on together, I don't know if you'd probably ask one question, it would take up the entire podcast, but they can be really great.
That would be probably fire. Now, our last question is deep, but I think it's always a good one to leave your impression on the podcast. Just what mark do you feel like you want to leave on the sport when it's all said and done, as you're kind of writing that story right now?
That is probably not something I always think about a ton, but I think my hope would be to show maybe others, when it comes to different challenges or adversity, to that, you can be rewarded for kind of keeping that faith in yourself and keeping that unwavering belief in what you can accomplish. And, I'm really fortunate to be incredibly supported as I try and pursue these dreams, but hopefully others can just kind of see, not the whole never give up or type thing, but just, I don't know. I feel like that's just been a big thing for me, is just believing in myself and having a deep, unwavering belief in myself that, even after some of the things that happened, I could still accomplish those goals. So hopefully can help inspire maybe some other people that have had some setbacks, that their best running is still ahead of them.
Yeah, I love it, man. We didn't get into all of the stuff, especially I was listening to the Half Step pod two days ago when you were on there and you describing your infection and everything. So I encourage people to go listen to that episode, because I think that was great, and how you went into that, because that was incredible. Just what you had to go through with that was truly great. So I think anybody listening this much, if you want to hear more about Sean, go check that episode out, and he talks more. And I was thinking of Alex Smith, back in the watching that.
That was insane. Yeah. I just remember watching that documentary. That was that's also just something else I learned. I think sometimes in the moment it can seem really bad. 3 surgeries seem shocking to me, and then he had 17.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's it's pretty next level. But you know, I warned you guys that you weren't going to be able to get to every question. I talk too much. So.
It's all good though. Still a great episode. Appreciate everybody listening, tuning in, bro. Aaron, you got anything else before we get out of here?
All right. Have we got any new ratings, bro? Anyone else?
No, we don't got nothing new yet. But that's just the message to everybody. Give us new ratings, bro. Like, come on, subscribe. 10K. Dude, golly.
Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. But appreciate you, Sean. Hey, we'll see you at Portland Track Festival this weekend. Let's get it.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me on. Can't wait to see you this weekend and some other meets this summer.
Yes, sir.